All right, so I guess you could say I'm a U.S. Marine. I gotta say, that was like one of the most insane rides I've had in so long in my whole life. Boot camp was absolutely crazy. Like, you do things that you never thought you would do before. You do things that you never thought you could do before. The challenge is just absolutely insane. I'm obviously bald now for people that do watch my videos, so yeah, we gotta get used to that. But the things that I learned from Marine boot camp are just out of this world. If I could recommend it to people, I would definitely say I would recommend it, because it definitely changes your perspective on life. Like, I am so much more grateful for everything. Like, just sitting in this car is just the weirdest feeling. But there's a lot of things that you do not know about boot camp that the YouTube videos do not show you, that I want to talk about in this video. The amount of mental stress you're going to go through is going to be more than any other physical stress. You actually go through the physical stuff a lot less than you think you do. Like, the physical stress comes from walking around all day with your like main pack on your back, or your assault pack, and your weapon, holstered. That's where the actual stress, like, physically comes from. The actual PTs are actually like beginner level PTs. Like, I remember being actually really underwhelmed with the PTs. I was like, this stuff is easy, because I was lifting and doing so much beforehand. But the actual physical stress of it comes from like the hikes and the daily like routine of just walking around everywhere. And that's where the physical stress comes in. So if you're already above average when it comes to being physically fit, you're ready to go, like, in terms of like physical. Now, the real problem is the mental stress. You are going to be pressured to do everything. Like, writing your name down on a paper, it's going to be complicated for you. I remember when I first got there, I had to like write my name down on the top right of the paper, specifically with the last name first name last. And I don't know, I just found all of that so, like, it becomes so complicated because you're so stressed out and pressured and just like getting screamed at all the time, that doing the simplest things are going to stress you out. Just like standing in line, you're going to have anxiety about what's next. And I'll definitely say this about boot camp: there is a lot of waiting around, because your platoon, you're waiting for like 80 other dudes to do one thing. So now you're like waiting in line, but you have to stay extremely quiet and extremely still. So you're like either having a lot of anxiety about what's about to happen, or you're appreciating that you can just like sit down and relax. So it's like a weird feeling. Like, I remember after halfway through boot camp, I used to love just waiting in line all day, because I knew, I was like, okay, if we can spend, I was like, okay, if we can spend an hour in this line just to do this one thing, that's 1 hour less in my day. So there's a lot of waiting around. That's like the biggest thing. But I would definitely say there's a lot of discipline that comes into it too. Like, obviously you're going to learn a lot of things, like, because you're waking up at 4 a.m. every day and you're going to sleep at 8 p.m. every day. You have to keep everything extremely clean. You're just like, you're doing a lot of disciplinary things, and you're gonna learn what the definition of discipline means. You're going to learn. Like, if you think you're disciplined before, I thought I was disciplined. If you thought you were disciplined before, join the Marine Corps boot camp. You're gonna know what discipline is, because you're gonna absolutely despise doing a task at 4 a.m. But you know you have to do it anyways. If not, you're gonna get freaking screamed at or IT'd or something. That's when you learn what discipline is. That's when I was like, dang, okay, this is discipline, because I do not want to go PT in this cold, but I have absolutely no choice. And you'll see you carry it into real life. Like, I'm about to go work out. It's really early in the morning, but it's just natural now. I'm just ready to go. My day will not feel complete if I don't do it. So you're definitely going to learn what discipline means and what it means to have that instilled in you. The Marine Corps boot camp is easily the hardest thing, because you get pretty much no contact to the real world. You could send letters, but like, you have no time to do so. So all you're doing is just receiving letters from your family, if they figure out how to send it, because they don't tell your family how to do it. But whole time you're receiving letters from your family. You can't call. There's no phone usage. That doesn't exist. You don't get your phone until like the day before you graduate. So that doesn't even exist. And you are just like in this incubator mode for like 3 months, just doing the same thing every single day, taking on new challenges, taking on new things, and just wondering what the real world is about. One tip I could give you guys is try to forget about the real world as fast as possible. Try to forget about it as quick as possible, because if not, you're going to go through the ringer. I remember in month 1, I was going through the ringer mentally. Like, I was constantly thinking about home, constantly worrying about people when I shouldn't have worried about anybody, because when you come back, everything is exactly the same. That's also another like pretty disappointing thing. You're gonna get underwhelmed when you come back, because you're gonna be so used to the discipline, doing everything exactly how they tell you. The day's going by low-key fast because like you're doing stuff all the time, to coming back to this and you're like, once you do it once, like eating good food. I ate good food the first day I came back, and I was like, all right, now what? And then you play video games, you're like, all right, now what? And then you hang out with your family and you're like, okay, the same problems are here, now what? And you just keep on doing it. But you guys will see what I mean when you do come back. But yes, try to not think about home as fast as possible. You're gonna have the homesickness, you're gonna have the feeling. Mine took me almost 2 months out of the 3 months to forget about home, but you will eventually forget about it. And try to do that as fast as possible, because there are rewards to being good in boot camp. I was meritoriously promoted because I was very locked in. After a month and a half, I was working really hard. I was always volunteering, always like making sure everybody was good. So they saw that and I got meritoriously promoted. That's the biggest goal. You want to get meritoriously promoted, or get like expert shooter, get first class, physical tests. Like, you want to get all of that. You don't want to be the guy that barely scrapes by. That is not a good, because it's not going to carry good into your future, into the future of your career. Now I'm like 6 months ahead when it comes to like my rank and like things like that. So try really hard in boot camp. You can scrape by, you can lay low, be behind the radar, which is honestly what I did for the first month. But try not to do that, because you're just going to scrape by. You're just going to go through each day. You're not going to have a role. We call them NPC recruits. Like, you don't want to do that. Definitely try to, give it all you got. You're going to have your moment. I feel like everybody has their moment where they're like, okay, I might as well try. And that's what happened to me. So, and the last thing, would I recommend Marine Corps boot camp? Would I recommend the Marine Corps in general? I would definitely say the most proud moment I've had in my whole entire life, like that, it's just no question, was graduating. Because you go through that insane hardship, you go through all of those things, and you just have one goal in mind that whole time. You're like, I have to graduate, I gotta get out of here, a Marine. And that day comes and you're actually a Marine, you actually made it out. It is one of the most proud moments of my life, easily. Like, that graduation day was so surreal to me. Leaving the island, going into civilian life, so surreal. I was like, whoa, like, I actually physically made it off the island. I can't believe I'm home. Can't believe I made it. It is the craziest feeling. But you need to prepare before. Make sure you're doing your runs. Make sure you're doing your push-ups and pull-ups. Make sure you're challenging yourself to be as uncomfortable as possible. That's really important. Make sure you're doing all the things you need to do to prepare yourself for boot camp. Take care of your real life situations before you go, because when you come back, trust me, I'm not going to go into it, but when you come back, all of it just resumes. You still have those real life issues. You still have to do all those things. So make sure you take care of all those things before they get out of hand. But yeah, that's pretty much the video. It's really short, but I'm out of Marine Corps boot camp now. I'm gonna try to make as much videos as possible to have scheduled for when I go to SOI. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.